Graeme, nice to see you in your Baffana Baffana supporters t-shirts. John, yes. I'm not quite sure who you're supporting.
I'm behind the scenes. I'm not the Brian Eno of soccer. You never hear of me, but I'm there.
Were you united yesterday for South Africa, for Baffana Baffana?
Very united.
I thought I saw you saying you're the only one wearing black.
Yes, well, it's the only way I can get work. I hope they do well. I really do. You know, they talk about the South Korea effect, where just the sheer force of the country will push them to great heights, and I hope that works.
Well, of course, we saw yesterday in Santon, coming to a standstill, huge support coming out there. Don't know how much impact that had on our gain in the markets yesterday, Graeme, but really helped to unite South Africans.
Yeah, very much so. I cast my mind back to 1995. And what a positive vibe that created. Now, if you times that by 10, that's probably what we've got here. And I think it also makes you sit back and say, what have we achieved in the last 15 years? The fact that we're able to host this. A lot of people have sort of been very critical of the spend on stadia and so forth, but I mean, we've just made so much progress in the last 15 years. It's phenomenal, and it's good to sort of stop, take a breath, because there's nothing else happening in the markets, and just reflect on what we've done.
John, what do you think it's going to do for South Africans? I mean, clearly it's a great team-building exercise. Everyone loves everyone. Everyone's hugging each other.
Right.
You know, so it's a great thing to see South Africans so united.
It is, and you know, I think it's wonderful that we all come together like this, and like you've done this morning, and so clearly wear these outfits and show your support for China. In fact, their numbers are up this morning by 50% as a result purely of the number of t-shirts sold in Santon yesterday and in Cape Town. So I think it's wonderful that we all get together and support cheap manufacturing. I think it's very important. From a team point of view and a country point of view, I think apart from sickly sweet, disgusting films about how rugby, you know, changed the country, I do believe that Madiba understood the ability of sport to unite people, because no one really cares. And we've been watching loads and loads of Blue Bulls supporters going to Soweto, and it just gives the country such a lack of vibe that even the cynical maniac that I am, I feel bad making jokes about that, because you just want to let everyone get on with it. Yeah. You want and Tani to be eating pap and sauce at the Shabin with, you know, the lady who runs it. We should make that compulsory, because I think it's important. So it is good for us, but I do think we need to stop now supporting China. I really think that's gone a bit far.
And of course, he's not being funny, because I've got some of those lovely little wing mirror covers. Have you? Proudly made in China,
yes.
South African flag on them.
Yeah,
and there's surely a missed opportunity here, Graeme, that we have all of these flags and wing mirror covers and all of this paraphernalia that's made in China for one of our biggest sporting events ever.
Yeah, look, I take a different view on this. China has decimated the manufacturing base around the world. Our textile industry's been on its knees for years. You know, lots of political intervention to try and keep it going. But unfortunately, when you're fighting a country with such low costs, and it's interesting. I don't know if you've been following the story. What's been happening with Honda's assembly plant in China, and how, you know, they had strikes. So there's definitely you're starting to see an increase in the cost of manufacturing. But the gap is just so massive that what's true for South Africa is true for anywhere else in the world virtually. To try and compete head on with China with those low costs and virtually no cost of fixed investment, it's a futile exercise.
Well, John, you know, China is getting us out of this recession, so we should be grateful. I mean, this is what most investors.
And you know, they are experts at keeping low costs, because children have very low needs as far as labour goes, and low overheads. Obviously, when you're small people as it is, your children are even lower, so there's virtually no overhead whatsoever. So I understand that, and they really can stitch those little wing things very finely with those little fingers.
Speaking of those wing things, I've got grease on my car. I know you're Greek as well.
I'm half Greek. I'm an Afro-Grecian. I'm a half Greek, half Afrikaans, ex-Zimbabwean. Okay. So I really am waiting for xenophobia to wipe me out as soon as the World Cup is over.
Well, you mentioned nothing very much happening on the market, so it's nice to focus on the football. Yeah. But do you think that it is actually adding to the sentiment on our markets? We have seen the rand holding pretty steady despite what we've seen happening globally. Risk aversion building last week, building at the beginning of this week. Yeah. Rand really holding pretty firm, and there is a good mood out there.
There's a good mood, but I think our market is going to just take its cue from global markets. We had a good run. As I said, I thought we were going to sort of slip back and consolidate and then probably trade in a sideways pattern, because it's not just us that are watching the football, the whole world. got the Northern Hemisphere holidays coming, so I think we're just going into a fairly quiet patch generally. But in answer to your question, no, I don't think the football's given us a great feel-good factor. Our market rallied hard yesterday, led by some of the miners, almost in anticipation of these commodity prices. But our market had been down, 7 or 8 days on the trot, so no, I don't think there's really been
But maybe our market rallied hard because all of the sellers were parading around Santon.
Quite possibly, yeah, take them out of the equation.
John, do you invest in the market?
Not really. I don't believe in investing in money I can't see at all, and I think that's why credit crunches happen, because all these experts sit around and they basically invented time travel. They traveled to the future using derivatives. They then spent the money or grabbed it from the future, and when we got to the future, it wasn't there, and that's when the entire market collapsed. And no matter how many suits people were wearing or how many numbers you put across the screen as you are right now, it didn't mean anything because the money was gone.
John, I also know that you give talks about strategies for business. Can you give us some insights into that?
Well, essentially, just at the business school in Cape Town, there's a very clever professor who uses creativity to inform MBA students who are convinced that they know everything, and then credit crunches come, and then they realise they didn't quite know as much as they thought they did, and those pieces of paper were printed quite big so that their degrees on the back they could write no job, no shares, no nothing, no idea, no future, and stand at the side of the road. So we try and re-educate executives as to how to unhook all those sort of welds that have been put on them during business school, and try and think a little bit more. I don't want to say out the box because I almost feel nauseous.
John.
I do try. Although a lot of them look at me and wonder, what are you doing here with your tattoos and earrings, you maniac? And then I often remind them that I'm going home to my stable life and not to some volatile markets.
You weren't, talking about placards, you weren't by any chance that bloke standing on the side of the road in Santon saying, "No, I'm not David Beckham. Please stop asking."
I got so much, I got approached so many times yesterday by people wondering if I was David Beckham, and I'm glad I'm on a...
I think it's the hat.
Do you think it might be the beanie?
I think it's the, yeah.
And the facial hair, because he often does that to hide, especially when he's SMSing his babysitter. But I'm going to try and lay low for the next couple of weeks.
We actually have you standing there with that placard.
Have you got it?
It's
We did
coming
have
out.
you arm in arm with that posh Spice Girl.
Yes. Was she around? I thought she was at home.
We're just looking for that visual of you.
Okay, we saw Graeme just now.
I think, wasn't that Ronaldinho? Wasn't that actually Ronaldinho?
It was great fun. I mean, I was in that crowd yesterday. It was absolutely insane, and I have to say that I was in the crowd with my heels. So.
You've got nothing on the card. Oh, there you go.
There you are. There you are.
I'm wearing a makarapa. Also Chinese.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time.